ultimately the lone wolf dies, but the pack survives. So what I mean by this is I'm going to draw you some pretty pictures here in a minute. And all I want you to do is just watch and don't judge me on my drawing, but really just get a grasp at the concept and what I mean by this. What we're going to do here is we're going to draw a simple diagram outlining the lone wolf and his journey and ultimately where it's taken him before he got to the pack. We'll check this out. So we'll call this lone wolf, we'll call him Jack. Now Jack has been doing things by himself. Here's Jack. Now Jack, we'll say, is 300 pounds. And he's been 300 pounds for, we'll say, 7 years. He's been wanting to change and do things by himself. He's tried a whole slew of things. He's tried juicing. He's tried keto. And he's tried going to the gym. But none of this stuff worked for Jack because ultimately, not only did he stop doing these things, but he lost motivation along the way. Now, Jack is by himself. Now, Jack comes in and he meets his pack. He meets people just like him on the same journey, trying to do the same thing. Now, so Jack is still 300 pounds, mind you. However, that's going to be irrelevant. So what's going to happen is now is no longer just Jack. We got Kyle, Evan, Tyler, AJ, Kyle, Matt, all of us in here now. Basically Jack's in a pack now. So he's in a group of like-minded individuals on the same journey with him. Now, this is what's going to happen. Jack is going to come and do fantastic, and we'll say he's running with the pack for 28 days. We get Jack is going to get down to about, we'll say, 270. This is Jack now, 28 days, fast forward. Now, Jack says, you know what? I want to continue doing this. I feel great. The food tastes good. Let's just go ahead and continue this. So Jack continues this for another, we'll say, 2 months. Jack gets down to about 250 pounds, which is great. It's only been 3 months. Jack's already down 50 pounds. It's pretty impressive. Now, life happens. We'll say something happened in which Jack can no longer, we'll say, stay with the pack. So he strays off. And so, this is the pack. This is Jack now. Jack is no longer in the pack. But he's still at an impressive 250 pounds. Well, what happens when, say, a wolf leaves its pack and it strays? The predator is no longer the apex predator. He now becomes the prey to what was the prey. So we'll say, Jack runs into being by himself, and he runs into a situation in which he plateaus and he stops at 250, but he's doing the same thing. Now, what would have been the predator, Jack, who's on this mission and just crushing everything in his way, is now at a point in which he is not losing any weight. He's still 250, and it's been 2 weeks. Life events happened, ultimately leading him to having to wander from the pack. And now he says, you know what, this isn't working for me. And so I'm going to go back to what I was doing before and just see if that helps, if we can switch things up again. So we'll fast forward a month. We're going to say Jack is now back at 275. And that's just how things work, because when you do diets, and ultimately diets don't work. A diet does not work, and that's why we don't prescribe diets in this program. Now, what happened was Jack, we'll say, went back to carbs, which, yes, a lot of it is water weight, but a lot of it is also fat that came back to Jack. And so what's going to happen? He's going to gain all that water back. He's going to gain some fat back. And it's not going to be very productive to this journey that Jack was on. And so ultimately, because that's not working, he's going to try and go back to what he was doing, but it's only going to work for a little bit because he's not motivated anymore. He gained he gained half of his weight back. So yeah, he's not going to be motivated to want to do it again. So yeah, sure, he starts it again and he gets down to 265, but he can't keep it because that same life event is still there. So ultimately, he doesn't have that motivation, that community to survive, so to speak, because what's motivating him now? It's not progress. So essentially, in all of this, it's very, very important. This is going to keep you going. And I can't stress it enough because we can quit on ourselves all day long. That's easy. But it's very hard to quit on the pack. It's very hard to quit on the group because it's just something that we are wired to do more than say. So quitting on ourselves, there's nothing we're going to lose. We can't lose ourselves. But if we quit on other people, we risk a lot, like disappointment, anger, frustration, friendships, coaches, marriages, you name it. When we quit on other things, there tends to be a lot stronger repercussions. And so ultimately, that is why the pack will survive a lot longer than that lone wolf. And so ultimately, that is where you will be getting most of your results, is not just straying off by yourself, but rather sticking with what worked. And one of those things was the community in it. Do you see why support and accountability are the only tools that are going to get you from point A to point B? Without accountability, you will take shortcuts, you will cheat, and ultimately you will fall off the wagon. Coaching and accountability create consistency. Consistency creates habits and routines, and habits and routines are what dictate your lifelong choices. If we can give you coaching and accountability, we can give you change, results. This is your chance right now, Dad. We just opened up spots for one-on-one coaching, which we haven't been doing in over a year because we've been content with our clientele. You are probably wondering what our coaching costs. And although it doesn't cost an arm and a leg like traditional personal trainers or online coaches, it does require an investment. And why should you invest in your health? Think of it like this. Doctor's visits, medication, ER bills, fast food, they all add up way more if you would have just taken the time and invested in yourself before. I didn't mention the worst ones, divorce or death. So we'll hop on a strategy session to plan out the best strategy for you to lose 20 pounds in 30 days, revitalize your energy levels, and much more. At least give us a call. See what we have to offer before you count yourself out like you always do, because everything else is more important than you or your health. If anything I said was true to you, hit the button below, and we will see you soon.